it was weird because I wasn't myself. Even when I was getting out and I was like going through all this stuff, I was going through college, I still wasn't really myself. I had no sense of style because I didn't care. I had so much other shit to worry about that I was like, this is not important to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
All I care about was getting through school and like trying to figure out who I was. It felt like I was going through puberty all over again, but with money and like freedom, which is a crazy thing to be feeling, to going through that again. But then you have money to go with it, and you get to do what you want. It's crazy. I'm buying unnecessary shit that I don't need.
Yeah,
right.
Still does.
I mean, necessity is a playing field, bro. But yeah, so I mean, I think where I started to realize like I wasn't really myself was like towards the end of college. Not to get too deep, but I think my junior year of college was probably the hardest because I realized that I was like, oh man, my major isn't really what I want it to be. I'm going through these classes.
that's
that
every
I'm not,
college. I feel like
Yeah.
most college students probably feel that way.
right. You're going through that, and then like I'm starting to realize like I'm getting overweight. I haven't been on my gym shit. Like I've been in and out of the gym for the majority of my life, but I've never been consistent with it to actually see like real results.
Mm-hmm.
That was bothering me a lot. I didn't really know where my life was headed. I was getting to that point where I had been out for such a long period of time. Like, shout out also to my brother Nathan. Like, if I didn't have Nate during that time, I don't know what I would have done, because I met him when I got to the National Guard. Him and I would kick it. We found a way to kick together. We got super close, and that's why like to this day I consider him my brother.
That's a good dude right there.
Yeah, and I don't get to see him enough, and I'm trying to get better at that for sure. Nate, I'm coming for you. But yeah, like if I didn't have him and we didn't have each other, I don't know where I would have been. Especially like as men, we don't communicate like, you know, people do. Like there's times where I don't talk to y'all for days.
Yeah.
Or weeks. And it sucks, but it's part of being an adult, and it's part of just like being busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think junior year was that time where I was like, okay, man, like, A, I'm older than everybody. Going to college when you're older than everybody, it's weird, man. Hella weird. But I remember I started dating this girl, and I was like serious, man. Like she was in ROTC, so like I started getting glimpses of my old life because she was in ROTC, which means she was gonna go into the Army as an officer. It's like, okay, bet I can go back in. I'll figure out a less violent thing to do, but I can go back in and like I can make that my life again. I would have done it for her, right? And you know, we're serious, and like, well, we're not serious. Like we're a month, 2 months in, we're getting to know each other. We're starting to like establish
like that's not that serious. 2 months in.
No, but like we're spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
But we're spending hours staying up to like 2 or 3 talking. Like we're getting deep.
Yeah.
And chill. It's crazy. We have a tied brain at this point. We're sharing the same brain cell because I know what that dumbass is gonna say. But yeah, man, like we're getting into it. I'm starting to like kind of think about what my life path is gonna be.
Yeah.
And then yeah, man, just one day out of nowhere, she just kills herself. And I'm like, damn. Like that sent me into like a hole.
Yeah.
And that was a hole I didn't think I was getting out of. Because I don't remember the day very well. I remember the call. I remember being told. I remember going to the apartment complex, but I don't remember anything for like the next, I don't know, 3 days. Because I blacked out. I was like, between just the shock and the grief, and then I was like, okay, what do I know how to do best to deal with this shit? Drink my life away. And I remember like the third or fourth day I snapped out of it, I was like, shit, man, it was the beginning of the semester.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to drop out of school? But there's a big part of me that was like, man, if you drop out, are you going to go back? And you're already in junior year, man. You're already damn near
you're
almost there.
done. Yeah.
Like, just finish. And so thank God for the professors that I had that were very understanding, which is normally not the case in college. So that took, I think, the most motivation and perseverance at the time, up until that point, even through the shit in the Army, to like focus. I couldn't really, I didn't want to talk to anybody because I mean, I still do. I still bear so much guilt for it. You know how people are like, oh, you know, it's not your fault. You couldn't have known. I don't give a fuck who tells me that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my role model could tell me that. I'd be like, you can go fuck yourself, bro. Like, I'm never...
To this day,
To
you
this
still
day.
feel guilty.
To this day. Because it's something... There's cues that I missed that they even train you to see in the Army. They play this dumbass video for the Army that's like, oh, yeah, man, he was worried, so I took his firing pin out of his weapon. I saw her weapon the day before. If I would have had... You know, if I would have been thinking like that, sure, but I wasn't. And so, yeah, it's not your fault. I get that. But, like, that guilt is probably never going to go away. It's manageable now. And I think being able to manage that guilt has helped me get through it. And that's what I'm talking about is, like, I let myself sit in that spot. That was one of the times in my life where I let myself sit in that spot of guilt and, like, I let it take over my life. And I thought I was never going to feel like that again. And then I did not too long ago. But, like, at that point, I was like, okay. Once I pulled myself out, I was like, okay, how did I just pull myself out? I remember I was in my house. I was sitting on the floor doing homework, and I was like, dude, you haven't gone outside other than to go to class in a minute, bro. Like, you haven't done anything. Go do something. Like, go, like, be a social person. Go, like, at least interact with people. Like, I think I hung out with Nate a couple times. I had some roommates that I would see, but, like, I wasn't open. I wasn't the person you guys know today. That's for damn sure. I wasn't extroverted at all. And I think just having that sense of self-awareness, noticing that you're harming yourself, man. You're not taking care of yourself. I definitely wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't working out. I was eating like shit. I was drinking. I wasn't a good person, you know?
Yeah, the thing about being in rock bottom is, like, you feel your absolute worst. But then there's also, like, there's only way up after that.
Right.
Yeah, it can't get any lower.
Yeah, it can't get any worse, or maybe it can, but it's just like, all right, like, everything's shit.
Yeah.
What should I do now? Yeah.
Yeah, you know those
it's like a trigger. Like, all right, it's probably time to get my shit together,
you know,
a little bit.
Those graphics that are like progression is a linear path, and, like, they have, like, the guy, like, digging in, like, the mountains and shit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today as, like, when I talk about sitting in something for too long, if you sit in that valley, that deep point, your strength's depleted, the motivation that you had is gone. It's going to be so much harder to climb out of that than it would be for you to sit in it, realize that you need to let your emotions be for a second, but not let them take over. Use it as motivation to get out of that place.